everybody, it's Gerard at the Refinery, and here we're finishing off the last installment of our series on the Porsche 944 project. As we saw earlier, when the car originally came in, it was, the paint condition was in pretty rough shape, really rough shape. In fact, we were laughing that it looked a bit like a pink chalkboard when it came in. But what we've done with it through the previous videos was we saw a bit of the cleanup, we saw the paint correction process, and we've gotten it to a state here, which you can see is just miles ahead of where we were when the car came in. The gloss is really, really nice. The clarity of reflection is very, very good. And it was a bit of a judgment call on the approach that we were going to take because the customer ultimately had to decide. Many of these panels have quite thin paint, so we had to decide whether we wanted to do paint correction on paint that was so thin, but ultimately what it boiled down to was a decision between either leaving the car as it was in a totally oxidized, sort of chalky state, which the owner didn't like, or a chance of reviving it and bringing it back like this, but knowing that there is some amount of risk that, if the paint did wear through, that wouldn't be this sort of catastrophic issue for the owner. Because literally, the other way of looking at this car was, if we didn't try paint correction on it, then the owner would be faced with painting it anyways, which is, removing the paint and doing another big job on it. So it didn't seem like a terrible idea to see if we were able to accomplish fixing the paint before having to go the route of doing a full repaint of the car or even a partial repaint of the car. So I think it was a good decision. It's an interesting car. It's fairly low mileage, but it's also not sort of a collectible or something where you need to protect the integrity of the original paint at all costs. This is a driver. There are stone chips on it. There are a couple of dings here and there. There's a couple little dents and so on that just come from being 30 years old and having a bit of use. So, that's why it seemed like a reasonable approach to try paint correction. So, what you can see here and probably in the reflection along this side of the car is, just a world of difference from where it came in. We're really happy with the results of the paint correction. We think the owner is going to be thrilled. But we're at the step here now where we have to do the last step protection. So we've gone to the effort of polishing out the car, trying to perfect the finish as much as we can, and now you have to lock it in that way, right? You want to keep it in this state for as long as you possibly can, because we've gone to the effort and the expense of investing in the car's finish, so now let's keep it that way. So the typical options that are available to you is you can use a natural wax, you could use synthetic sealant or something like a polymer sealant, which have, both of those two options have fairly limited longevity, meaning you have to kind of keep chasing it with another application of that, 4 months down the road, 6 months down the road, something like that. Or in this case, what the owner has chosen to do was a ceramic coating, and we're going to be using Ceramic Pro ceramic coatings. So ceramic coatings are great for a couple of reasons. One is that from a protection perspective, they're extremely chemically resistant, which means the likelihood of bird droppings or sap or other types of acids or contamination from etching into the surface is greatly reduced because it's such a stable and repellent type of top coat. The other nice thing about it is it offers some UV protection. And then as well, it sort of minimizes the amount of maintenance and fussing of reapplication like you would have to do with sort of a traditional wax or even a traditional sealant, which again introduces friction onto the surface. That can be a source of surface marring and so on. So by doing the ceramic coating, it's from our point of view, it's sort of the best level of protection that you can give, knowing that this paint is prone to oxidation, that it is quite thin, and that we want it to be as repellent and as protected as possible. that's why ultimately the customer selected to go with ceramic coatings. A lot of sort of people question, or we get a lot of customers asking us, is the point of ceramic coating to create gloss, right? Is to try and make something shiny that wasn't shinier before, or change the appearance of the paint finish. And that's not really our point of view on it. It is true that ceramic coatings do provide an excellent gloss, but 99% of that gloss is achieved by preparing the paint in this way before you're sort of locking it in that state. So you do get some gloss characteristics and so on from a ceramic coating, but I wouldn't say it's substantially different from a really good quality wax or a really good quality sealant. And then finally, the looks of it stay great for a long period of time too, right? The gloss, because the product lasts for so long, the gloss stays really, really well. It needs just minor maintenance through cleaning and washing and so on in the future. So all those things add up to a really practical solution to the last step protection question. So a little bit about the Ceramic Pro package. The owner has selected the silver package. Ceramic Pro is offered in a gold, silver, and bronze configuration. And if you take a look on our website at www.therefinery.ltd, you can see a bit of a description about those different packages. But effectively, the gold package has 4 times the amount of ceramic layers as does the silver package, and the bronze package has sort of the least amount of ceramic protection on it, and you have a bit of a different lifespan, where the gold package is a lifetime warranty on the performance of the product. The silver package, which we'll be doing here, has a 5-year warranty for the performance of that. So how the package is structured is, in the silver package, which again has a 5-year sort of longevity or warranty associated with it, is a 2-layer process. So the first layer is called 9H. That is the hard, durable, chemically resistant ceramic material, and that goes on first. So that is what we're doing on the car now. You can probably see Mike in the background applying it on the front end of the car. But the 9H layer is what provides that really strong ceramic durability. And then once it has cured, so we'll allow it to cure overnight and then come back tomorrow morning and apply the second coat, which is called top coat. And that's exactly what it is. It is a really sort of slick feeling, glossy looking, and hydrophobic layer that is designed to bond with the 9H and provide those really sort of the aesthetic properties that you really want, and those sort of self-cleaning and really slick feeling properties of the final finish. So that's how the two products work together in the Ceramic Pro lineup. But what's also included in the package is some of the other surfaces of the car as well. So the glass receives a different version of Ceramic Pro coating, which is called Rain, and it does what the normal ceramic coating does for the paint, but for the glass. So it just makes the glass really hydrophobic. Water runs off of it. If you're driving, at highway speeds in the rain, you almost don't need your windshield wipers. The side windows, the water runs right off of it. It's a really cool product for daily driven cars or all season driven cars, and particularly cars that are driven in the winter, where you're getting snow and slush and it can build up and cake onto the glass. This makes it much easier for the wipers to clean off that type of slush and stuff from the surface. But also what I've personally like about it, or I've experienced with it, is occasionally through winter, we're in Toronto here, so we often get a couple of freezing rainstorms a year, and it almost creates this like shell of ice over the car. and I find that glass that has been coated is much easier to kind of knock off the ice because it's not as bound to the surface as what it would be if it wasn't coated. So it just creates this really hydrophobic layer for the glass. There is another product that is from Ceramic Pro as well, which is included in the package, and it is designed for the wheels. It's a bit of a thicker formulation because wheels experience so much abuse. There's, obviously the brake dust and rotor dust, and they are very close to the ground, so a lot of, surface contamination from the pavement and whatever else is on the streets, all of that gets onto the wheels. And also there's huge temperature changes with wheels where they get very, very hot, then they cool right off, and then they get hot again, and so on. So for that reason, you often find wheels are the most etched or the most damaged painted portion of the car. And when you can coat a wheel using something like Ceramic Pro wheels and caliper, you're creating, again, a very durable layer on it, which makes wheel cleaning easy. It's the brake dust washes off very, very simply without needing aggressive chemicals or aggressive brushes and scrubbers and stuff like that. It is very easy to keep your wheels in perfect condition if they have been coated. And the other great thing about ceramic coatings is they're extremely temperature or thermally stable, meaning even if you're applying it on brake calipers that get very, very hot, even if you're using it at the track, you are not approaching anything near the maximum temperature threshold that the ceramic coating can reach before it starts degrading. So it's an ideal product for something like wheels and calipers that get very, very hot if you're doing aggressive driving and track driving and so on. It's a great way of keeping the calipers looking, a lot of calipers come, bright reds or blues or yellows, and you can keep them looking that way with a minimum amount of maintenance. And then finally, the last portion of the car that gets touched is the exhaust tips. If you have sort of chrome or polished or brushed or even matte finishes on the exhaust tips, you can use the Ceramic Pro wheel and caliper on those surfaces as well. And again, it just makes the cleanup of those that much easier, where soot cannot sort of bind in, which then starts etching the material and permanently damaging it. Exhaust tips that have been coated in a ceramic coating are much, much easier to kind of keep looking the way that they're intended to look for a long period of time. So that's about it. That's sort of a wrap on this series. We hope that you've kind of learned something along the way, that we were able to kind of share some interesting visuals, but interesting information as well about how to approach a car like this and the different things that we think about here at the refinery, and different ways that we have that we approach a project like this and are able to achieve results like this. It's really, really important to us. So like always, if you have any questions, whether about products or process, and you kind of, you're interested in learning, we are eager to kind of share whatever experience and information we have. As well, we sell all the products that we use here in the shop on the website. So www.therefinery.ltd is where you can see our web store, where we don't have every product in the universe and every manufacturer and every version of every product, but the products that we do use here and we do get excellent results with are available for sale, so that you can get the same excellent results as well. So, encourage you to check that out. And if you have any questions about a product that might solve a problem for you, again, give us a shout, either phone call, email, leave comments for us on social media, and we're happy to get back to you on that. So anyways, thanks very much for watching, and hope you like the results. We'll be back with more information and videos in the future.